Hey craft buddies, I am in the process of cleaning my craft room and I realized I have a ton more Easter and spring supplies to DIY with. So today I am popping in your feed with a bonus video sharing a ton of quick and easy Easter and spring DIYs to brighten up your home just in time for Easter and beyond. This is Whiskey and Whit. My name is Whitney and a huge welcome back to my Whiskey craft buddies who come each week to DIY with me. If you're not already a craft buddy, no worries, just hit subscribe down below so you won't miss a future DIY or budget home decor video. Now let's get into the projects. I'm really excited about this first one because it was highly requested. We're making another door hanger. This time we're doing Easter and spring. So I like to grab my door hangers either at Hobby Lobby or Dollar Tree when I can find them because they're nice and thin and great for seasonal wood rounds. So it's freezing still a little bit in Illinois, so I decided to do a faux stain technique. I put a little bit of, well, I guess a lot of it, there's a huge glob there, but let's keep it real. And we're taking a wipe and I'm just wiping in to get a stained effect. Then on my Cricut, I'm cutting out my free cut files. I've got both an Easter leopard print as well as a spring leopard print. The spring, as you're seeing here, has tulips and other flowers in it, and the Easter one has bunnies and eggs inside of the leopard print. I have gotten so many DMs from you guys asking if I would do an Easter one, so I love when you guys put in suggestions. I can't guarantee that I can get to them all, but I try to get to as many as I can, and there's other requests later in this video. Now, once everything's weeded, I'm using some paper transfer tape, which is great for delicate surfaces like wood. I know a lot of you have asked about the Expressions vinyl tape because it goes in and out of stock. I found a great alternative on Amazon. It's a huge roll, and honestly, it will last you a long time. I'm cutting that pattern to 11.75 inches wide, and I'm cutting the wording to 10 inches wide. These colors were in a multi-pack that I got. It's Tech Wrap Craft. I had never used it before, so I haven't gotten used to it yet, but I don't hate it, so I will definitely link it down below if you want to check it out on Amazon. It's nice to have a multi-pack of a lot of different colors when you're creating seasonal stuff so that you don't need a whole roll of baby pink if you don't use it. Then I'm using this ribbon I actually got last year at Dollar Tree. You can use any ribbon, and then some of this fall clearance burlap. Now I tried to do a pile ribbon or a hot mess ribbon like I like to call it, and it needed something else, so I added some pink and purple rickrack from Dollar Tree to kind of give it a little extra whimsy. So I'm just putting them down in a variety of different angles. You just want to make sure that you've got an even number of ends facing left and right. Then we're going to pinch the center and take some Dollar Tree jute twine, wrap it around, and then I'm just using a desk stapler to hook that bottom piece of burlap onto my sign. I'm doing this so in case I wanted to put it somewhere where the sun hits it, I'm not going to have hot glue, melting everywhere. I dovetailed all of the ends, trimmed it down to where I wanted it, and this is a perfect addition to my big white tobacco basket with my lamb's ear wreath in my living room. I just like to switch out these little hangers, and how cute are those bunnies inside of the leopard print. I love how this one turned out. Now for my spring fans, I did Hello Spring here, and the eye in spring is a little flower, which I think turned out really good as well. Here's a closer look at the pattern, and this one does not have a bow because I like to hang it inside of my wreath on my front door like I did here. The only difference with this process is I did seal this with a coat of Mod Podge, just so then that way when the sun hits it, it's not going to have the vinyl push up on me. I grabbed another one of these carrots this year because last year I painted them as well as these little ornaments, and I wanted to do it again. So this is my whimsy painting technique that I have done for a variety of different seasons, and I really love doing it. I painted the carrot as normal as well as all of these little small ones because we're going to do a bunch of different projects with them in this video. Then I'm painting the top in just an orange chalk paint that I had on hand, and then I'm mixing that orange chalk paint that I put on the carrot with some white so I can create these lighter color circles. Just taking a paintbrush and spinning it around to create some polka dots, and then I'm grabbing a smaller brush to create some in the in-betweens that are smaller. Once my big carrot was done, I went through with that smaller paintbrush and did it on all of the smaller carrots and let that all dry. Then we're gonna go in with some paint markers to add some whimsy and some fun effects. So the first thing I like to do is add some little reflections to my polka dot bubbles with some white, and then I do a kind of chunked out outline around the top. So this is not all hooked together. You want it to be kind of chunky and broken apart. And then I add just a little bit of contrast to the white highlights. I do a little low light with a black paint marker. I did the same thing to my little carrots, and then I wanted to make these into a garland because you guys know me, I love garlands. So I took the little hangers that came with the carrots and I just tied some small little knots. The reason I did that is because there's only one hole in these and I didn't want them to flop around on me when I hung them up. So I decided to take my dowel needle, which is just a long upholstery needle that helps me with garlands, string up 2 beads as well as my little carrots, and then these are gonna hang nice and straight down for me. Now for the carrot, I just re-added the hanger, and then I'm using these on my blanket ladder in my living room to add a little bit of garden, spring, as well as Easter fun. So I just tied some loops in the ends, hooked it on either side of my blanket ladder, and draped them around with the larger one hanging on a hook. Another project I've done in the past that I wanted to reimagine was a bunny with glasses sign. So I started with that faux staining technique with the antique around the outside of this wood canvas. This one I got on super clearance at Target. It's the Mondo Llama brand. I don't think they sell them anymore, but you can get them from Arteza and other places, so I will link some comparable ones down below for you. Then I painted the inside and edged out the border with the sandstone paint, and then I measured how big I needed to cut my bunny. Now this bunny itself is from an Etsy purchase. I'm using the same file that I bought years ago. I will link it down below. This is one of the most popular ones around this time of year. You guys love this bunny. Now for this, I'm going to do a reverse weeding technique. So to do that, you're not going to weed out your design. These are the glasses for the bunny. You're going to put your transfer tape over the top. I'm using paper, and you're going to remove the back. Then you're going to take your weeding tool and remove the excess vinyl just like you would with heat transfer vinyl. So you're just scooping and peeling it. That is going to come in handy when you're doing something like this bunny where it's very delicate and intricate. So I'm going to take that paper transfer tape again, apply it right over the top of the bunny, and then do a reverse weed, and that is how all the little bits aren't going to drive you nuts when you're weeding. So just take your weeding tool, you can peel it up, but the transfer tape is going to hold on to the delicate part of your design, which helps so that you aren't like yelling expletives at it or wanting to throw it across the room, as I sometimes do. Then we're going to get it applied to the center of our sign, or in my case, slightly right, but that's okay. It happens sometimes. It's hard to get everything centered 100% of the time. It worked out fine though, because once I added my glasses, I just added a little bit of jute twine to the bottom just to give it a little bit of texture, and this thing was good to go. I love this file. I love the light purple glasses. I did a reverse canvas of this, and I did that originally because I thought that would be a lot easier to weed than adhesive vinyl, but with the reverse weeding here, it works out really well, and I added it to our floating shelf right when you come in our front door. I've got some little candlesticks there, a Dollar Tree foam core sign, and then these fun little stone looking bunnies from Hobby Lobby. All right, friends, so I told you that I've got more requests. I have gotten a ton of requests this year for Peter Rabbit themed DIYs for Easter. So to add my little Peter Rabbit onto those various mediums that you saw before, I'm starting in Canva and I'm finding a variety of Easter watercolor images that I want. This will be a free printable over on my blog, so you don't have to do this work, but if you're looking to do other themes or flowers or something like that for spring, this is how you would do it yourself. I'm making them small and I'm arranging them on the sheet so I can essentially print my own napkins onto this tissue paper. Now to do that, we have to put the tissue paper on some sort of carrier sheet so it's not going to rip up in the printer. So this is just regular old white tissue paper. You can use any light color. You could probably even use a dark color. It just won't show up. And I am trimming it down and taking just some regular old Scotch tape and taping it around the outside. The key here is that you want to make sure there's enough space that you can tape it. The tape will adhere to your paper, or in my case here, cardstock, and it's not going to hang over the edge so it doesn't get jammed in your printer. Once I got the edges all done, I inserted it into my printer, and you just want to know which side needs to be up or down to be printed on. This is my new Canon printer. I literally just got it, and this was the first project I did on it because I needed to upgrade because I do so many printables. The goal here is to make sure that your design has a thick border around the outside because we don't want to print on the cardstock or the tape. So then once I hit print, I sent it, and I was hoping it would work. Woohoo! And it did. So now I have basically my own napkin that I can decoupage with. So I did a variety of different sizes of those images, and the first set I wanted to put on this Dollar Tree tag. It's part of their new blanks line that they've come out with just for the spring of 2023. And so I cut out this cute little Peter Rabbit, and I trimmed as close as I could to the whiskers, but I figured the white would kind of blend in with the decoupaging, so I wasn't super concerned. I just didn't want huge chunks of white on there. You could also print it on its own and then cut it to the size of the tag, but I wanted the wood to show through. Then we're taking some Mod Podge, and we don't want a crazy amount here. It's just a light coating so the things will stick down, and I'm working my way from top to bottom to make sure it's all adhered. Use your fingers carefully to make sure there aren't any bubbles, and then once it dries, seal the top with another coat of Mod Podge. Super quick and easy, and think about it. How cute would this be with family photos or a saying, or you could even scan and then print a kid's like drawing or handwriting. The sky's the limit with this technique. I also did the same thing on these wood eggs that I got a pack of 3 for $3 at the Target dollar spot. I also grabbed some larger sizes of the wood eggs at Michael's. Really, the main difference is you just need to print items that are larger, and if you get the same size eggs as I did, you can print my printable directly from my blog and you won't have to worry about resizing, but you could also resize yourself. I did a really cute little outline with some greenery of Peter Rabbit. I did just a Peter Rabbit, and then I did a variety of different images on these smaller ones. Now, I have seen online that people have done something similar to this with napkins that they found at TJ Maxx or Home Goods, so that's another idea if you don't want to print your own, but I wanted to show you the technique because, like I said, photos, handwriting, other characters, tons of different options, and you can decoupage on so many different things. So keep that in mind as you start to DIY heading into the spring and summer. Hey friends, if you are enjoying these DIYs, be sure to head down and leave me a comment, and also be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Both of those things really help my channel, so whether it is an emoji all the way up through a full-blown novel, every little bit helps, so be sure to do that before you leave if you're enjoying this video. So we're also decorating in this video, so here is how I put together these two items from the Target dollar spot to create a really fun take on a tiered tray. I set up the bunny ears tray and set it directly in the center of this locally grown carrot farm tray. And then to fill it out, I used some fabric carrots that also came from the Target dollar spot. And how cute and fun are these little stand-up cutouts for the book? I printed out very similar images that I did for the decoupaging, but I did it on cardstock, and then I cut some scrap foam board from Dollar Tree, used some double stick tape to put my characters on it, and then I used an X-Acto knife to trace around the outside to make them essentially firmer and make it so they would sit up on my tiered tray. You can do this in a large scale as well. I did these for Finn's birthday with some Dino Ranch characters, so if you want to see how to do those, I will link that as well in case you're having like a Peter Rabbit birthday party. I got a variety of different carrot colors from Michael's, and then I just had fun starting to arrange things. I added some Easter grass into these openings just to kind of give it some texture, and I did my variety of sizes of little wood eggs, my tag, and then also these other little trinkets around the outside mostly are from the Target dollar spot. Now, I knew I needed a faux book, but I wasn't quite sure how to do it, and then it dawned on me. I took some scrap from those little characters, and I printed out this fun little printable, which I will provide over in the folder on my blog, and I cut a piece of foam board to the size of the front cover. Then I adhered it with some double stick tape to the front, and then I used some more double stick tape to adhere it to the back. Basically, you're just wrapping this cover around the piece of foam board to give you a faux book. Now, I did the original cover as well as kind of a more fun, whimsy one. So I have two different options, and I have one on my tiered tray, and then I also have one set up on the other side of the table. I have not decorated for Peter Rabbit before, but I think this is so adorable. And you could also, like I said, easily use these for a Peter Rabbit party or christening. I know that theme has been big lately, so tons of different options. And hopefully for all of you that requested these, you love these Peter Rabbit DIYs. I've got one more coming later in the video. Another one of Dollar Tree's new blanks in that Farmhouse spring line was this sign, and I got a cute idea to make for my mother-in-law. So I decided to measure the top, and I cut a 7-inch wide piece in just a fun font that says Grammy's Honey Bunnies, because my mother-in-law, with Finn included, has 3 grandkids. So I cut out their names in a variety of pastel colors, and the pink is hard to see on camera that I used for my niece's name, but in person you can see it much better. I used paper transfer tape to apply the Grammy's Honey Bunnies across the top, and then I used some super glue gel from Dollar Tree to hook these cute little bunnies with little tails. Now, 2 of them stuck really good with the super glue. One was slightly warped, which that's what you get for a multi-pack of little cutouts from Dollar Tree, so I had to go back in with a little bit of hot glue, but once I added the names, it was so cute. So Ben, Finn, and Delia, and my mother-in-law hasn't been over to watch Finn since I made this sign. So if you're watching this now, you know what's waiting for you the next time you come over to our house. This would also be a great little hostess gift to give anybody that has grandkids that's hosting for Easter. Now, I really wanted to do a layered garland look on our mantle because it's been a minute since I did a mantle in the new house. I really only did Christmas, and so I decided to take these dyeable eggs, which I grabbed some extra packs because let's dye these. They're way cheaper than a dozen of real eggs, and they take dye pretty easily. I'm taking my drill bit and I'm drilling a hole in both the top and the bottom so that it basically makes it into a wood bead of sorts. Then I'm taking my long dowel needle that we used before, and I'm going to do 3 just regular size wood beads. I'm not sure exactly what size this is, but I usually get a multi-pack from Amazon or I buy them from Michael's, so I will link down below my favorites. And I just did 3 beads in an egg, 3 beads in an egg, and I ended up needing about 1.5 packs of these to make this long one. Then to hang them up, because I get a lot of questions on that too, I create a loop on one end and I loop it into these little command strips. I like the ones with the movable hooks. It just gives you a little bit more forgiveness when you're decorating. And then I just swagged it up onto my mantle. Now this is layer number 1, so I decided to add a printable garland to this one. So I went into Canva and created one that says Happy Easter, and the nice thing is I've got Happy Easter. I also added an A, so you can opt to do Happy Easter. There's an exclamation point if you choose to use it. And then there's also some really pretty spring florals. So if you don't want to do the Peter Rabbit version, you can kind of choose your own adventure. Once you have everything that you need cut out, we're going to pop some holes in it. And this is just a hole punch from Dollar Tree, nothing crazy. You can find it in their office supply section. And I'm going to take my first one, line it up with the other ones, and make dots so the holes are straight across. If your holes get a little wonky, it's going to hang a little wonky. So you just want to make sure that your holes are in the same spot. And I do 2 holes on either side because it helps things lay flat once you have them strung up. I'm making sure that a bulk of my jute twine is going behind the banner instead of in front here, just so then that way it looks better when it's hung. Once it was all assembled, I added the first layer, which I did Happy in 2 pictures, and then I did a whole separate piece of jute twine for Easter in 2 pictures. So then for the actual mantle itself, I went a little bit more symmetrical versus asymmetrical like I like, but I think it turned out really cute. I added some bunnies from the Target dollar spot, as well as some carrots from both Walmart and Dollar Tree. The Dollar Tree ones I finally found, and they are super cute. So the large ones at the bottom that I'm doing this 3 stack are from Walmart. They're $2.98. The container in the center that the carrots are in is a magnolia from Target little crock that I will link for you. And then as far as spacing, especially when you have 2 layers of a garland, tie one side and then tie the other one so that your jute twine is sitting where you want it. And then because of the holes and the way we set it up, you can go ahead and slide those letters back and forth.
Always shop your house because look at these. They both say Christmas sayings on the back. I just flip them around. They look like little garden containers, and literally no one would be the wiser. I'm using my little guys to cover up where I'm hooking the garlands, and I think it turned out so cute.
And here is how everything turned out. I like the different textures, different colors. I like that Peter Rabbit is incorporated in here. We've got some really pretty watercolors, and I was able to use the bunnies that I picked up at the Target dollar spot this year. I thought they were so cute, but I wasn't quite sure what I was gonna do, so I love the pops of orange as well. Now, every year around these major holidays, I love to find fun things so that you guys can do them for your kids and your grandkids. So here is one idea. You can grab these cute little bunny containers, and they fit little snack packs really nicely. So this could also be great for a preschool,
or to send to school as like a little Easter gift, kind of like a May Day basket, but early. I like to take a little extra snip out of the top so the ears kind of separate when you go to tie it. And then I just held back some of those carrots we made earlier for the garlands, added Finn's name with some black vinyl, and it was super easy peasy. This is so fun if you want to do an alternative to an Easter basket. So this is a great way to give a gift. There's not a ton of waste. There's not a ton of stuff that they got to take home and find a spot for. These would also fit some little Hot Wheels cars really well. So that's a fun idea to let people know you're thinking of them without giving them a ton of stuff or a full basket. Same thing with these cute little Dollar Tree carrot baskets. This time I went through with some heat transfer vinyl. I cut out the 3 names for Finn, Ben, and Delia. Those are my niece and nephew. And this would be something that I could give them. They would have something fun in there, whether it be a snack or a Hot Wheels car or glow sticks, just a couple different ideas. It's really cute and it's themed, but it's not a ton of stuff from their aunt, uncle, whatever, that they have to find a spot for. This is a fun idea to let them know you're thinking about them without a ton of extra waste. And finally, I wanted to share with you guys what I am putting in Finn's Easter basket this year. I know a lot of you have kids and grandkids around his age, and so I put it together so I could hide it and I then could share it with you guys. So my first tip doesn't have to do with what goes inside it, but what goes under it essentially. I like to stuff the bottom with either extra shopping bags, or you can do packing paper, newspaper, whatever, and then you can put some tissue over the top. This really helps because then you're not trying to fill a huge basket with Easter grass that the kid is probably going to throw around anyway. So you kind of make yourself a little pillow here, and then you can just add a little bit of Easter grass. I like to do the paper because it vacuums up better, in my opinion, if you got it everywhere. But you are using way less of the Easter grass than you would if you filled the entire basket. Then I got him this mess-free coloring with Bluey, because we love Bluey at our house. I also got him a Bluey Easter book, as well as a Honey Bunny book, and then If You Give a Mouse a Cookies Easter book. I always do books, and I always do some fun outdoor activities for Easter, like this 8-pack of little egg chalk pieces for only $1.25 at Dollar Tree. I got some little kitty dough, which is like Play-Doh with the baby sharks on there, some Hot Wheels, and then this really adorable little flag that just adds some pizzazz because we're all about dinosaurs this year. I also grabbed some cute little dinosaur eggs from Dollar Tree just to fill it out and make it look really full, and it was ready to go. Now, my big thing is don't stress yourself out on things like this. I like to slowly gather things, especially now if you're seeing this about 3 weeks out. Be sure to just get a couple of these smaller things as you are out shopping, and it will make it a lot less stressful come time for the actual holiday. You can also spread it out if you don't want to have to buy all that stuff at once. So couple tips, couple things that I have learned, and let me know what you love to put in Easter baskets or as Easter gifts down below. I would love to hear it.
That's gonna do it for this video. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite project was, and also be sure to tag me if you recreate my projects. I've been loving seeing all of the different things that you guys are creating, both direct replicas and then also your own spin on my projects. It just makes my heart so happy. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe if you're new so you don't miss a future video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!